Hey everybody, welcome back to another Battlegroup Kursk video. This one will be talking about indirect artillery fire today. And artillery fire includes not only the big artillery units, it will include mortars as well. Now, this will cover a couple different types. There's the things that you can buy and purchase as part of your battle group when you construct a battle group. And then some of this is kind of like regimental off-table artillery that you can buy, and we'll kind of explain the steps on how you handle those. But artillery fire can be a little tedious bookkeeping if you don't maybe make some notes and write down some information ahead of time. So if you do plan on getting artillery, we'll take a look at artillery, and then maybe I can give you some suggestions on how to better track it and use it. Now, there's a lot of steps. I'm not going to kid you. It's probably the more of the complex things that you can do in the game, but once you've run through it a couple times, it's not bad. It's just a lot of steps. In fact, when you look on page 35 of the book, there's 6 steps just to see if you can shoot. I got a little bit of glare here, but luckily on your handy dandy reference sheet they do have the artillery fire sequence here, so you don't have to have your book open necessarily for all the steps of artillery fire, but it will explain everything in detail. So let's take a look at some of them steps. So first thing you gotta do is request your artillery fire. Now, when you're requesting your artillery fire, you have to place yourself one of your orders. So at the beginning of the game, you know, when you roll for how many orders for that turn, you assign one to your spotting team. Now, your spotting team, they need to have line of sight, and they got to be within 70 inches of that line of sight. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a second, because depending on what you've purchased, that will determine on really if you're going to be able to shoot anything first. So let's take a look at the priority check. I like to get ahead of myself. So let's look at the priority check first. Basically, this is where you have to decide what kind of guns did you purchase. So let's take a look at the purchasing here of a artillery. So first thing you can do is either purchase the artillery, again that includes mortars, as part of your initial points of making up your unit, your battle group. So let's see, you can buy your teams, and right down here it has some of the artillery or even some of the off-table mortar fire. Got a lot of light glare there. So let's say if you want, you could buy some off-table artillery. 105 guns, 100mm gun or cannons, Nebelwerfers, or some mortars. Now, this would mean that's a group that's attached to you. They're on the table, well, unless it says off-table, but I mean they are attached to your battle group. So when you want to use them, they're available. So the other unit you can get is under additional fire support. And this is where it gets tricky. You have to buy a priority mission. And my understanding is each of these you have to buy. So like once you buy, say, this first target priority, that's one fire request. So let's find out what that means. You have third, second, first target priority. That's going to tell your regimental command how easy it will be for you to call in fire support. Because if you don't buy dedicated units that sit out on the table with you, then you're actually calling back to the base saying, hey, do you have any guns that are available? So let's come back here real quick. If we look at some of the artillery you buy, you might say, well, why would I want to buy on the table? Because those guns that you can shoot multiple times, they're expensive. Artillery is expensive. 43 points, 86 points for light. So you got to decide, is artillery something I like to use, or do I want to have the opportunity to make maybe 1 or 2 shots? If you want to have that table, you know, some artillery there supporting your unit, then yeah, go ahead and buy from this artillery unit. If you just want to have a couple shots to back you up, then buy 1 or 2 priority shots. So let's say you want to make your artillery check and you've purchased some of this off-table additional fire support. And let's say you purchased it second target priority at a 4+. So when you go to make your artillery check, you spend 1 order for making the call, and you roll your die 6 to see if your higher level support has anything available. So I rolled a 4. So that would mean that yes, they've got something available for fire support. Then what you do down here, and the Soviets would have their own tables, but the German support, you then have to decide, where am I requesting that support from? Am I requesting it from like a regiment, division, corps, or army? The higher up you go, the bigger the guns, but the harder it is to reach them for your comms check. Now, there will have some units that you could purchase, like wire teams. Some of that stuff will help you make that communications check. And what that does is that's basically your guys on the ground saying, okay, you've got guns, here's where I need you to drop those rounds. And it just makes me think of those movies where you see them guys hunkered down at the tables and they're at their radios and they're calling for fire support. It's possible that through just the combat noise, the coordinates you give aren't heard, the wires are cut, so that communication doesn't go through to your team. So if you buy some of those units like wire teams, they'll give you a bigger chance of passing your comms test. So let's say we're going to go for divisional battery, 3+. So I'm going to roll. I roll 4. So that means yes. I then get my divisional battery support. Then I get to see what exactly am I getting. So I roll another die 6. I roll 2. So that would mean on this check, 1 through 3, I get 2 105mm howitzers. That's what's available from additional fire. If I was using the mortars or off-board artillery that I purchased, I wouldn't have to make the roll for the priority because they're already attached, but I would make a communication check. In the book it says that if no comms test number is listed, the default is a 3, because I still need to make sure I can talk to those people to see if they're available. However, once I pass that communication test, since I already know what they're firing because I purchased it, I can then go on to the next round. And the next round in your fire sequence is after the priority check, comm check. Now we're going to position the spotter round. And that's when it's going to be within 70 inches of your spotter team. Yes, one of them is not painted. Get over it. But I do have 2 targets. So let's say I place my spotter round there. I now have to see how accurate was that spotter round. So lucky for us, accuracy is also found on the quick reference sheet. So what I'm going to do is check to see how close to my target is the spotter round. So I'm going to roll a die 6. I rolled a 2. So I look down here. If I had rolled a 1, that was wild. 2 just simply means I missed. So I missed. I got to roll 2 die 6 in a random direction. If you're going to be using artillery, one thing I would recommend is at the start, designate somewhere on your board a clock facing, like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, because that's going to be real helpful when making your misses for artillery. Because what you got to do is first of all determine in what direction that shot misses. So that would be towards the 10 o'clock. So like if I say the top of my board is 12 o'clock, 10 o'clock is going to be off that way somewhere. Now I just happen to have a 12-sided die to tell me that. You could use a 10-sided die, and when you roll it, the point of the 10-sided die would tell you the direction the shot wanders. If you don't have a 12 or a 10-sided die, you'll just have to come up with a method of determining a clock facing. Now, according to my chart, since a 2 through 5 is a miss, I roll 2 die 6 for a random direction, or for distance. So I already rolled 10, so I know it's 10 o'clock, 7 inches. So with my tape measure, from the spotting round in about the 10 o'clock direction, I know that's where my shots will land. So I take my fire marker, and that's where my artillery shells will land if I decide to make the fire. So the spotting round can come off. This is going to be tough because your shots have to be, well, they will land within 10 inches of that final spot. So if I was going to go with this, the Stug would be in range. Oh, and look here, that infantry unit would also be in range. So even though that seemed like a pretty wild shot from where I wanted it, I'm actually going to be able to hit both units. So at this point you have to decide as a player, do I want to go with this or no? And if I had, say, really been off, even friendly units would be in that blast zone of 10 inches. So you have to decide, do I want to make the shot or no? And if you don't make the shot, you don't expend any orders. And if this was like regimental support, you wouldn't have used up your regimental support shot. You can use that to fire again at another time. But I'm going to put back here, and I'm going to say we're going to go. So the next thing we got to do, come back to our chart. After we check for deviation and I decide to fire for effect, now we're going to check for what kind of damage we do. When I did my roll, what did I get? Yeah, two 105mm guns, I think. Let's just say I forgot. Well, let's say this is what I had. I got 2. Now, each of those guns has to be given a fire order. So, let's see. If I had rolled, say, like 3 orders at the start of my turn, 1 order was used to call for fire. 2 of those remaining orders then go to each gun. I wouldn't have any other orders for infantry or anything like that. So now my spotter team, yeah, I'm using a washcloth for a forest. Yeah, just get over it. So as that spotter team is there, they called in 2 gun tubes. Each fire order gives 2 commands essentially, just like in a regular turn. We'll grab a couple more dice. So now, this is what I meant, lots of chart. I had to come down here, determine number of shots. So 2 guns, 2 shots each, that's 4. Roll for barrage accuracy. And right here is my barrage accuracy. So that's a 1. So when I look at my chart, a 1 is a miss. One of them shots had no effect, so I'm just going to move that off to the side. Then I had a 2 and a 5. And I had a 6. So 2 through 5 pinning tests. Alright, so that's good. I got a couple pin markers I can use. And 1 was a direct hit. I'm going to grab a direct hit marker. So what you have to do is, within that 10 inches, you start the closest unit and you assign your, let's take a look. Let's hop all the way back to artillery. This is why I say you want to make notes. If you're going to have artillery, make some notes so you know exactly where it is you want to go. So the first thing you want to do after you do your accuracy, and I know I had 2 pins and 2 hits, you direct your direct hits first, starting with the closest unit to where your shots land. So for me, that's going to be the Stug. So let me find my pin or my hit marker. Now, if you had multiple hits, you would do that essentially like 1 hit there, 1 hit here. So I got 2 units, but if I had 3 hits, I would put 1 hit, then I would assign the second hit here, If you run out of units, then you start over. You go back to the closest vehicle to where the artillery hits and assign another hit marker. So actually, if you score a lot of hits, artillery can be real deadly, because hits means you're going to start killing stuff. So, you know, if you really want to take something out, buy lots of artillery and just hope you roll a lot of 6s when you roll for your hits. Now pinning, we're going to assign that in the same fashion. Put one pin marker on the closest unit to the shot where it lands, and then one pin here. Yeah, brown washcloth, I put that out. That's dirt. It's going to give them some soft cover. They're digging in a little bit. Yeah, it's a brown washcloth. Get over it. As a gaming on a budget. Alright, now we get to see what we have accomplished with our pinning hit. So now that I know that I have a hit, 2 pins with that 105, we're going to start resolving some damage. So what I'm going to do is find my gun in my gun section. Now here in the medium guns, there's actually 205mm guns listed, and in the example they were using this one here in the book, because they were talking about how it did 3 penetration damage. Now this is important, since we hit the Stug with the hit, this 3 gives me the penetration factor against the side armor of the vehicle. So I would have to go and look at the Stug, if you will. Oh, you know, I just realized I'm mixing my Russians and my German equipment on the same team against my German spotting team. Well, that's not important. So if I wanted to resolve damage, it's just a hit. So, you know, you had to go look up the side armor for the Stug, make your direct attack on the chart, and then resolve that. But let's reverse it. Let's say I had the direct hit on the infantry. Then what I would have to do is look at that high explosive effect chart here, and that would mean I'd have to roll 5 dice. I got that. And then every 3 plus would be a hit. So like if I rolled 1, 2, 3, I would have 3 hits that these guys would have to make saves for. So that's the direct hit, how you resolve. Now the pin, it's the same way as you do it normally. You can look down here on your area effect chart. Since that's a medium gun, infantry, they make a they're going to be possibly pinned on a 3 plus. So since I had, well, in here it was just one pinning shot, we're going to see if they get pinned. So I roll 6, medium, 3 plus, they're pinned unless they make a save, and then that's just a standard save. You come over here, they're in the soft, they save on a 5 plus. I rolled a 2, so they're pinned. So that's pretty much artillery in a nutshell. Now I realize that, you know, I kind of go slow. I'm hoping that just kind of clears up some questions you might have about artillery. There are some special rules, Katusha rockets, the Nebelwerfer, and you know, just some different things that spice it up a little bit, but that is pretty much the basics of artillery. 10-inch radius. There's special in there about like a pinning fire with artillery, where you have a chance of converting direct hits to a pinning hit, but then instead of marking 10 inches from the impact, it's 15 inches. It just signifies that you're just dropping rounds, hoping to pin, not necessarily kill. So just, you know, use them. Not too bad. It's a lot of steps, but like I said, you know, I'm trying to juggle my reference sheet and move the camera around, but like I said, if you just prepare yourself ahead of time, you know in the game you're going to use artillery, make little notes on what pages you want to look your information up, write your gun damage down ahead of time, so that will help minimize some of your page flipping, and then artillery won't be a problem whatsoever. If this wasn't a good video, it didn't meet your needs for artillery, just leave some comments down below. Let me know what I need to clarify or what else you would like to see, something else entirely. So take care, good luck, happy hunting.